phrase preaching Christ is a phrase that Paul used, and so a couple of places come to mind. There's 1 Corinthians chapter 2, where he's talking to, or he's writing to the Corinthians, and they're kind of disappointed with his ministry. You know, he's not very impressive. He doesn't change, kind of mark us in the way the popular speakers of the day did. And Paul's going through in that early part and just saying, you know, the gospel seems foolish, it seems weak, but actually it's the power of God, it's the wisdom of God. And that's reflected not just in the message, but even in my preaching. I determined to know nothing except Christ and Him crucified. And so that little phrase there becomes a key to our understanding of what was it Paul was doing in his ministry. And what he's saying is, I wasn't manipulative. I wasn't using all the full range of kind of rhetorical skills that are out there that are used by people who want to move you this way and that. I trusted Christ to ultimately move you by His Spirit. It's God's work. And so I presented Christ and Him crucified. Now, I don't think that what he was saying was, when I preach, I say Christ and Him crucified, and nothing else. But the whole thrust of everything that he did was to point people to Christ. The revelation of the Father, glorified, if you can use John's terms, or revealed fully in His humiliation on the cross. That's where we see God. That's what God's like. So when Paul was writing to the Galatians, another example, here's a church that's responded to the gospel, and then some others have come in and tried to add to the gospel, tried to corrupt the gospel, tried to put the emphasis back onto the people themselves instead of on Christ. And Paul said, who's bewitched you? Who's cast a spell on you? It was before your eyes that I publicly portrayed Christ as crucified. And the idea there is, you know those kind of huge billboards that you get on the side of a warehouse? He's kind of using that sort of a word, that's what I did. I preached Christ crucified. That's what I made really big and obvious so that your response would be to Him. And so, again, it's not that all we say in every sermon should simply be an explanation of the crucifixion. But everything we say in our preaching should be pointing people to Christ as opposed to putting the emphasis back on themselves. That's what I think it means to preach Christ and Him crucified.